You got lucky this time, young man. You can hurt yourself in the dark. This really ought to be fixed, and then I must remind Sarah to change the lights at the station. It's been too long already.
Even that sounds better than your singing.
Are you all right?
Splendid, splendid! Damn hernia. It swells up like a balloon if I lift anything heavier than a spoon. Yeah, splendid, splendid. It's been a long time, Tom. Good to see you.
Hey, you wouldn't happen to have a bottle on you, would you, Tom?
I wish.
The Andersons, they're,
Local musicians.
we're waiting for Dr. Hartman to come pick them up. They wandered off from his clinic at the Cauldron Lake Lodge. I'll be heading back to work as soon as Dr. Hartman gets here, Rose. Oh, but I'm not looking forward to the poison we have at the Park Cafe.
Bye, Mr. Wake.
Mission accomplished. The key and the directions.
My hero. I got some flashlights, just in case.
Hey, wait! Mrs. Wake! Your keys!
That diner was a real nut house.
Can you believe this place? This would make a wonderful setting for a book.
We're supposed to be on vacation, Alice. I'll figure it out when we get back home. Okay?
Okay. We can talk about this later.
Bad man here on KBFF.
I didn't want to talk about it. I wanted to bury my head in sand.
Here's another one of my favorites to go with it.
Once upon a time, I was a successful writer, but that was a long time ago. I hadn't been able to write a word in 2 years, not since my last book.
And now the weather. It's gonna be a clear night, so you folks in the big city might want to look up every once in a while. See those stars winking down at you? It gets pretty dark out here, but they'll light your way.
Wow. It's gorgeous, Alan.
It's something, all right. Don't worry, honey. I'll get you inside safe and sound before it gets dark. And I've got the flashlight.
Another beginning also goes back to the time when I was working on Max Payne games.
I wanted to make sure we were inside with the
I
lights
went
on
to
before
study
sunset.
screenwriting at Theatre Academy of Finland, and I wrote a couple of movie screenplays
Are you sure you read the
studying
directions
there.
right? It's nothing like in the
And one of
brochure.
them
Said
was
near the lake, not on
this
the-
horror movie.
Don't get me wrong.
Screenplay for a horror
This is so much
movie
better.
that
It's
I wrote in
wonderful.
Finnish
Our own
actually,
private
and the title was Pohjavesi, which translated would be groundwater, but maybe kind of more accurate tonally would be to call it undertow. And there were a few elements there that I later decided to steal from myself, and they all ended up as part of the story of Alan Wake.
The island had once been the site for a love story. Maybe it would be that again. Alice had told me about Cauldron Lake Lodge. The old building used to be a hotel, but these days it was no longer open to the public. An old generator had been connected to the power cable.
The lights are on. Good work, honey. I'll freshen up a bit and start settling in.
Okay, I'll look around a bit.
Sure thing. Have fun.
It was a beautiful place. I told myself I could rest here, sleep here, and forget about my work. I thought we could be happy here.
So in this movie screenplay that I had written called Undertow, there are several elements that I lifted and used in Alan Wake. The Anderson brothers, Thor and Odin, are already part of that. There is this witch-like character from Slavic folklore called Baba Yaga. And obviously her echo is very much present in the Dark Presence, in Barbara Chacker. And this mystical light switch, the clicker, is also part of this horror movie story already.
Alice? Honey?
A shoebox filled with books by Thomas Zane sat on the shelf. I'd never heard of him before.
Alan, I'm upstairs. I have a surprise for you.
Fest guests have already started to arrive. Just ran into one on the ferry. Famous artist, no less. We'll see if we can rope him into an interview later on. Now, let's go to the phones. Caller, you're on KBF-FM.
Hi, Pat. It's Rose.
Why, hello, Rose. What's on your mind?
I know who that famous artist was. It was Alan Wake, wasn't it? He's my favorite writer.
Well, Rose, I
just saw him at the diner. Oh, I am so excited he's here.
I'm sure he's glad to be here, too. Well, folks, I guess the secret's out. This is Pat Maine on KBF-FM. And now, some music.
Great. So much for keeping a low profile. The water was black. I couldn't help but imagine all sorts of horrors lurking in the depths below.
Surprise!
Alice? What is this?
I guess I have a small confession to make.
The cabin had gone dark. All the lights were out.
Alice, I'm coming!
Another beginning that also was a lot in my mind already working on Max Payne games. And just bouncing around ideas and wanting to do something different compared to Max Payne was that it just felt like a big deal and important to me back then that because at Remedy we make action games with action gameplay. And I was thinking a lot about the idea of what if we would have a protagonist.
Alice? Alice?
Oh no!
Keep going, Alice. Wake up.
Alice? Waking up in the crashed car felt like I had woken from one nightmare and entered another. I couldn't remember how I got there. All I knew was that something terrible had happened to Alice. The phone was dead. I'd have to find help on foot. Among Alice's things was a book, The Creator's Dilemma, by a Dr. Emil Hartman. Seeing the book brought back my fight with Alice. I didn't like it, and I didn't like the guy's smug face on the cover either.
For me, looking back at Alan Wake and the story of Alan Wake, certain things just feel like they have staying power and feel very significant and important for the overall experience. Wake says in the opening line, he talks about the unanswered mystery as something that stays with us the longest. And then we have a poem from Thomas Zane where he says, "Beyond the shadow you settle for, there is a miracle illuminated."
The gas station was my best bet. They'd have a phone I could use. It looked like a long hike through the forest to get there.
Hello?
Hello? Is someone there? The loose sheets of paper were pages from a manuscript entitled Departure. That was the name I planned to use for the next novel I had never gotten started. I was named the author. I hadn't written it. I couldn't remember writing it. In the scene on the page, the hero was attacked by an axe murderer in the woods at night. Departure by Alan Wake. The man turned to face me. His face was covered in shadows. It was hard to make him out in the darkness of the forest that surrounded us, but the axe he lifted was plain to see. It glistened with the blood of his victim. He grinned madly. The shadows were alive, distorted.
So if we take Wake's opening sentence about mystery and Thomas Saint poem about something beyond the shadow you settle for, I feel we are very much at the heart of what Alan Wake is about. I mean, we just tend to have this overwhelming yearning to have answers and to find one final truth about things. I mean, that's something that we want in real life. That's something that we often look for in fiction, because that kind of is something that consoles us. It's a very comforting thought, but then very often our lives are nothing like that. There is no one final answer. Things can be looked at from many different viewpoints, and this kind of yearning for mystery it's a great driving force. It's driving force for us for discovery and science, and in detective fiction, it's something that we chase, the answer. It just kind of is a great propelling force to drive us forward. But at the same time, should we have that final answer is the question.
The lights up ahead were a good sign. Maybe I wouldn't have to hike all the way down to the gas station to find a phone.
Anybody there? Please, I've been in an accident. Hey! Hey, you!
Phil!
There's been an accident. I need help. Listen, I need to...
Premium cabins for rent in...
Nightfall! Oh, hell.
Carl Stuckey.
Pleased
to meet you. Non-refundable reservation deposit required. Fair and square.
Ah!
Premium
Taken stood before me. It was impossible to focus on it, as if it stood in a blind spot caused by a brain tumor and eye disease. It was bleeding shadows like ink underwater, like a cloud of blood from a shark bite. I was terrified. I squeezed the flashlight like my life depended on it, willing it to stop coming any closer. I had to figure a way out of this. Any second now, and Stucky would be knocking on the door with his axe like Nicholson in The Shining.
During your trying, it's the latest thing. Incontestably proven health benefits let you.
Yes.
Bright Falls Sheriff Station. Only I...
Hello?
Those cholesterol levels.
This is bad. I'd never fired a gun outside a shooting range, and now I just killed someone. Or something. There were no bodies. They just disappeared. If I was dreaming, it felt real enough to make me sick. The dark forest was the last place I wanted to go, but I had no choice. I had to get to the gas station. Rose knew she had been gushing, but right now, she didn't care. As far as she was concerned, her brief meeting with Alan Wake was literally the high point of her life. She watched as he got in the car with his wife. She was pretty, confident, at ease with Wake. Not like Rose. They were perfect for each other. She'd have given anything to be called their friend. When I saw the river below, something uncoiled itself inside my head. I realized that I'd have to find a way across. I didn't even want to look at the water. Barry Wheeler was bouncing off the walls. He jumped on a plane after his calls were ignored by both Al and Alice for several days. It could mean that they were both on a second honeymoon, but Barry didn't buy it. Al had been way too unstable for that. Stucky was still out there, in the dark, stalking me. The staircase was broken. I had to make my way up some other way. I couldn't stay here. There had to be a way to get up there. The stairs were useless. I had to find something else to help me climb up there. There was no power. There was bound to be a generator somewhere at the logging site. With all this forestry equipment around, there had to be something I could use to reach the top. heard them before I saw them, swooping down from the sky and screeching as they came. I spun around just as the cloud was upon me. For an instant, I stared into 100 dead eyes, black pearls glittering in the darkness.